You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on this Wednesday, 8 days away from the biggest days of our lives.
How about it?
One day, Matt and I will look back. We'll say biggest days of our lives. Number 1, children being born. Number 2, marrying our soulmates. Number 3, the NFL draft in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We continue. I think every day that rolls by, Matt and I get an extra show or an extra video or an extra something on our palette, on our plate, on our responsibilities for the next week. I think from the time that Matt and I do the drive on Wednesday until the final pick is made on Saturday, I think Matt's going to do approximately 48 hours of radio there,
give or take,
in those couple days. But we are continuing to get excited. We got a bunch for you today. Hot off the presses, a lot of new mock drafts. Our guy Dane Brugler,
some dialed-in dudes, right? Yeah.
The Godfather, Mel Kiper. A couple new drafts with the Steelers going a couple different ways that we're going to discuss. We're going to get to some. It feels like, I think, by the best estimates of the boots on the ground reporters and the real journalists, it also feels like the Steelers have have concluded their pre-draft visits as well. So we'll get into some of that in hour number 2.
Yeah, my Pitt Johnstown math, I think they're up to 29 visitors.
I think
you only get 30. But
might have 1 or 2 more.
Right, but I mean, you don't have to use them all. It's not like it's required, so they can't even do many more. There was a C.J. Allen workout today or yesterday. Jordan Tyson's last. He's here like tomorrow or Friday.
Yes.
So like this stuff's all the hay's like in the barn, and these teams' boards are built, and we of course we bring them up because early February mock drafts. Yeah, they're interesting, and that's fine, and it's something to talk about, and we're all new to the draft process, as are our listeners, etc. But like these ones that just came out today are the most dialed-in people in the industry, and when you see some similarities in them too, like both have the Cowboys trading up,
I was just gonna say,
weird things like that. Yeah,
there's a similarity that both of them have with what Cleveland does with their sixth overall pick.
They're hearing things. It's getting to the point now. So this is kind of an interesting part of the cycle that I've talked about in some other airways too, and it's not 100% foolproof, but there's a section of draft timeline in these like 2 weeks leading up where a lot of truth comes out. And then like the 4 or 5 days before the draft, don't believe anything.
Yeah.
from like Monday.
That's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Monday until Mendoza, don't believe anything. But this time of year, I think a lot of truth does come out. And here's my, reasoning why. Because I was one of these guys, not that I was a leak, but there's a lot of human beings in these war rooms this time of year or the week before this. So it only takes one to blab. If there's 20 people in there, scouts, coaches, and they got a buddy in the media, we love Jordan Tyson.
One of them drinks a little too much bourbon down in the basement one night, starts texting their buddies.
He was the best man at his wedding because they were on staff 20 years ago with the Bears or whatever, or William and Mary or whatever, So when there's a lot of people involved, it's harder to keep secrets. And then after a while, they kind of kick the lower level scouts out to some degree and say, okay, if we're 5th on the board, who are we really taking? But all in all, who the scouts and coaches and assistant coaches, and frankly, there's some non-football people roaming around in there too. People bring you lunch, look at the board or whatever, man, they're really high on Ruben Bain,
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Is that Edgar Allan Poe, right? I think, but
I don't know.
That is certainly something that should be on our minds here at draft season. Something that's also on my mind to really get us started today is I got an email from Matt Williamson last night with the subject line segment. And
Yeah.
folks, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the sausage is made here, all right? When Matt sends me a late night email with the subject line segment, I get excited because it's usually something
Like,
that he's
this is on my noggin, yeah.
he's been sitting in his lazy boy chair in the evening and he's been thinking about the draft and there's something he wants to talk about.
A little bourbon involved, you know, right.
Maybe some hydration involved, something on the rocks.
Had
and
the Bucko game on, and while I'm reading like scouting.
Did they win last night? They lost last night, didn't they? I think they lost last night. Nathan, they lost last night. He's our resident Bucko expert.
I was getting my games crossed.
They're still a good start to the season.
Yeah, but that's a good background thing for reading scouting reports.
Totally.
And, doing that sort of thing. But it's bugged me because I've been on this high horse about O-line in round one, and boy, there's not that many. I don't want to wait, and left guard for now, tackle later, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And several people have asked me, most people, not as many people love that idea, by the way. And people are pretty sick of me talking about my man Max.
Yeah, I see our mentions on Twitter about every single day.
Right. But so I thought to myself, because people have asked, it's like if we only looked at, and I'm not going to put like Lomu or Freeling or Miller, because I think they're tackles only. Like they're too tall, they're too linear, they're not built like guards.
Lomu, I can definitely tell you, is he's a really good pass-protecting left tackle.
And Freeling's 6'8", and so is Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not guards. I mean, I'm sure they could get away with it, but that's not what I'm looking to do. So I don't really want to draft a pure tackle. I mean, a tackle only. I'm talking about round one. So if we just looked at them of how you would grade them if they were only guards.
Yes.
Max, Proctor,
Maui Noah, Fanu,
and Venga. Right. There's 5. I knew there was 5 of them. Venga's the only one that's a pure guard.
Mm-hmm.
The others might be best at guard, but this is also a real projection because only one of them have I seen play guard.
Absolutely.
And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt of if we only looked at them, what's your guard rankings? Of anyone that plays football in this draft, who are the 5 best guards? Well, I think I just named them, and I would have them all ahead of the Rutledge, Besantis, Pregnon tier, who are good, and I think all 8 of those guys could be really, really good guards.
Top 50 picks.
Yeah. Now, in terms of would you take them at 21, there is more value to they could be tackles too. You know what I mean? Something else I found out, by the way, which I'm not just backing my Max conversation, but a little bit. My buddy Marcus Mosher, Locked on Cowboys, I did a show with him today, and we were just talking about, what do you think the Cowboys? We were talking about the Cowboys trading up on all these mocks, and then he was like, "So who you liking for the Steelers?" And I mentioned Max, and I mentioned Fanu, and he's like, "McCarthy's gonna love those guys." And I'm like, "Why do you say so?" I'm like, "I know he wants movement-based dudes, but he's like, McCarthy more than any coach I can remember has tackles playing guard."
Interesting.
Like Tyson Smith was a tackle. When he left Dallas, 4 of their starting 5 offensive linemen, not the center,
sure, of course,
were tackles. Yeah,
interesting.
So, there you have it.
Interesting.
Let's just keep that in mind, folks.
Learn to think as those around you think.
Yeah.
So with that, Matt, you sent me an email of your rankings purely for guard play
and for only Steelers,
only for
generic,
Steelers,
right.
And then Steelers offensive tackle rankings, not including the tackle only guys like Freeling, Miller, Lomu.
Yeah, I don't know if those 3 are going to be in the mix at 21.
I don't think so
because they don't help you today. I mean, they'll be fighting
for
2
the
guys
Steelers.
For the Steelers,
21. Yes,
right.
I think Freeling goes before then. I think Miller and
too.
Lomu could still be on the board, but would not be a consideration
right.
for the Steelers.
Like if I redo my top 21, I probably won't have Lomu on there, and I think he was either 21 or 22.
Okay,
just because if you draft him, he's got to beat out Broderick and Cook. And he's probably not going to play left guard.
He's a dancing bear left tackle. Like, I don't even think he could play right tackle.
Right.
He doesn't have the physicality.
And you don't want a right tackle.
Right.
Like there's only one spot he can help you, and he's got to fight 2 other dudes this year to even get on the field. That's why I love Max so much, because I think you'd put him at guard.
I can tell you love Max based off these rankings.
Yes.
So Matt's rankings for the Steelers purely for guard, okay?
Purely for guard, yeah.
Number 1, Venga. I don't think that surprises any of us.
No.
If you've listened to this show for more than 5 minutes, Matt and I think that he could be a very good guard and would certainly be intrigued by taking him at pick 21.
And I don't think this is any state secret, but I saw him yesterday.
Yes.
At the facility, and he looks smart.
He looks smart.
I mean, he is very proportionate, very square, kind of looks like a Coke machine. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much to attack there.
Number 2, Maui Noah. Number 3.
And I don't think he's even going to be in the mix. I mean, I don't think he's going to be an option.
I don't think so
You know,
either.
right. But I did include him because I think he could be a dynamite guard.
Yeah. Number 3, Fanu. Number 4, Proctor. Number 5, Mad Max for offensive guard rankings. And then the other
Only guard.
Only guard. Then the other true 3 guards, you go Rutledge, Bisontis, Pregnon.
So, Matt, I thought you loved Max. Why is he last on that group? Because he doesn't have much experience.
Only for guard.
Only for guard. To line up week 1 as my starting left guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would pick all those dudes ahead of him because they've played more football. And it's a real easy thing for us to sit here and say, oh, that tackle, I'll just kick him into guard. It's so easy. Yeah, but things happen real fast in there.
They do.
You know, they do.
Especially when you're a rookie.
Especially when you're a rookie, right. I mean, it would for Venga. I mean, it would for anybody. Mm-hmm. But there's Chris Joneses and Aaron Donalds of the world that are really hard to deal with in there, you know?
So why Fanu, Proctor, Mad Max?
Fanu's high because he's such an athlete.
All 3 of those guys being ahead of the other 3 traditional guards, right? In Rutledge, Bisontis, and Pregnon.
I think all of them just have more ability or more gifted. They're more first-round athletes, you know.
Just a better prospect.
And most of them have better length as well. You know, like I know Fanu's got short arms for a tackle.
For a tackle, yes, not for a guard.
Right. Bisontis has short arms for guard. You know, and none of those guards have any tackle capabilities whatsoever. Doesn't mean they're not useful, you know, right. I don't think it will matter. And Proctor's an interesting one to me. And boy, I'm hearing more and more at the Browns adore Proctor. I don't know if
maybe that's why there's the rumors about them trading down from 6.
Yeah, make it easier to nab him because I think he'd be a phenomenal guard.
Okay.
I don't know if he can even be a tackle. I mean, he's a little slow-footed.
He's heavy.
He's awfully heavy.
He's heavy.
And even if the Steelers want
back in the 80s or 90s, he could have played tackle really well.
But even if the Steelers want athleticism over brawn, as a guard, I think he has more than enough athleticism. But as a tackle, I don't know that he can do what the Steelers want.
And
so,
then
I mean, like on the Steelers board, he might only be guard only.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, he's like,
Wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
I bet a lot of teams have that view of him. And then your Steelers offensive tackle rankings, remember, not including just the pure tackles, just the guys from that.
I have to plug them at left tackle for their career.
Yes. Number 1, Mad Max.
There he is.
Number 2, Maui Noah. Number 3, Fanu. Number 4, Proctor. So obviously the question becomes, why Mad Max so high at tackle over, these 3 guys that let's just say that's not consensus, right? Consensus amongst,
I'm sure it's not,
amongst most would probably have Mad Max.
But what
fourth.
was Max, Malgoa,
Fanu, Proctor.
Fanu's length worries me. Proctor, I'm not sure is a tackle. I don't like the whole right-left thing.
But Maui Noah's a right.
I think he's a right or a guard,
Yes.
And to me that definitely hurts him. But as much as all the negative things I said about those 3, I think Max, you know how we play the game of one guy in this class could be a Hall of Famer? The 2 guys I would say offensive linemen that can be Hall of Famers are Venga and Max. I think his ceiling is so high. I'm not saying like Walter Jones high, but I mean like one of the best players at his position in the league. I mean,
I'm not saying like Walter Jones high, but
who's like the best tackle I've ever seen.
Yeah, but it could be Joe Thomas high.
I mean, but I think he can be a perennial Pro Bowl.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Top 7 type
I mean,
guy.
he might wash out too, but I think he can be. I don't think Proctor can be a Pro Bowler every year type guy. Max can be. It might take a little longer. I'm not saying that's week 1. I would be a little more nervous of Max if he was my left tackle week 1, 2026, but that's not what I'm drafting him to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. He might be week 1, 2027.
Right.
But not 2026.
Right. I mean, that door's at least open. Or maybe all these guys, maybe they're so good at guard, you never move them anyways. And you re-sign Broderick Jones. Or, you know what I mean?
It's a lot to consider and chew on, and then you have the backdrop of how does the big board fall, who's available of these lot at 21 versus who do you think you could still nab at 53? Are all these guys that we mentioned going to be gone at 53?
Those guards, I think at most one is there at 53.
At most. And it would be Rutledge, Bisontis, or Pregner.
Right.
You might get one.
And I think it's a total dice roll, and I think every team's going to grade those different based on scheme because they're all kind of different, slightly different flavors, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, but I don't think you're going to have your choice at 53.
No, I don't either.
You might not like strawberry and only get strawberry. You know what I mean?
Or you might get mint chocolate chip, which really polarizes a crowd.
Yeah, that's bad.
My youngest daughter, we went for ice cream the other night, and she wanted to get mint chocolate chip, and my wife and I were both like, "No, like you won't like it." She just saw it up on the board and was like, "That looks cool,"
That ruins it. I mean,
my wife was like,
that's
"It tastes like toothpaste, sweetie."
That's a tough parenting move.
See, I don't mind mint chocolate chip. It's not it's not on my podium even. It's not one of my top 3, probably not even one of my top 5, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. When we're at training camp and there's 700 different flavors of ice cream there in the cafeteria, one day a year at training camp I'll get mint chocolate chip because I've had all the other flavors.
Have you had the
camp.
mint chocolate chip ice cream bar, the ice cream sandwiches they have there? I thought we had went down this road. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's very low on my list, but ice cream's good and I like it. It's better than not having any.
What's the Mad Max of your ice cream power rankings? Your ice cream big board.
I'm big on berry stuff.
Dude, I am too. I love strawberry and raspberry ice cream.
Blackberry.
Oh, so good.
Those are real high on the list.
Look at us.
But real quick, parenting move here. I don't know what I would have done in your shoes. Maybe your daughter should learn her lesson that mint chocolate chip stinks, Dad. I'm never going to try it again. Now, there's better stuff out there.
But it's too young to learn that lesson.
I don't know. That's why the dilemma of being a dad. Or you're like, she's not going to like it.
And I'll get to eat it.
And the rest of the night's going to be horrible because everyone else is enjoying her ice cream and she's like, this stinks. And then you sacrificed Tuesday night, the 13th, and you're like, you never get it back.
That's what I was worried about.
Right.
So there's Matt's offensive line rankings as it relates to the Steelers. I will tell you one thing that I have certainly learned since February when
I want all those guys, though.
All of them.
I want all of them, right.
All of them. But one thing that I can definitely tell our good ladies and gents at home listening to the program is that you need to find someone in your life who loves you, especially all you young people out there that might be this same college age as some of these NFL draft prospects. Find someone who loves you as much as Matt Williamson loves Mad Max Ian H. Orr.
Sign me up, man.
If this is The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, he is getting a rose from Matt every single time.
Remember like a month ago it was, who would you trade 21 for today? He was on my fence then. Now he's not even close to being on my fence. But him and Venga are both, I'll give you a third to move up and get them too. That's where I'm at on those dudes. Right.
I like it. We'll do more of those mock scenarios next week, like this pick and this pick for that guy. Would you not? Yeah. More would you rather stuff next week.
And teaser, we're going to mock till we drop today. I mean, he's available.
Well, I mean,
it's a teaser, right?
He of all these people, other than the traditional guards, obviously,
right.
Besides Venga, of all those other ones, he's the one that I would say will definitely be there at pick 21.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know about definitely, but I think
I could just see some O-line coach going, I want that.
I think he's got a better shot of being there at 21 than Maui Noah, than Fanu, than Proctor.
Yeah. Especially Maui Noah.
Let's take our first break. We were going to mock till we drop, like Matt said, for the rest of the first hour here. New Mel Kiper mock, new Dane Brugler mock. We'll dig into them as we roll along. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, just getting started on this Wednesday. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
What's up, NFL fans? The NFL Draft is finally here. And while you might not know who your team is drafting this year, you do know your watch party's #1 pick, Bud Light. The clean, crisp taste that has all the scouts talking. Guess that's why it's been the group's go-to draft beer season after season. Be sure to order a round for the table before your team's on the clock. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Staring down the barrel, 8 days away from round 1 of the 2026 NFL Draft. In case yins haven't heard, it's right here on the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. No one's really been talking about that much or anything.
What town's it in?
Right. It's here, right on the North Shore. Yes.
Yeah, next Wednesday's draft day eve.
Next Wednesday is draft day eve. It's basically Christmas in the Williamson household, baby.
I've told you this story. When I met my wife, like when we were in college, I'm like, I'm not going to sleep the night before the draft. You don't want to be anywhere near me. They were on the weekends then. I'm like, she had already graduated, and I'm like, don't even bother coming up because you're not going to like my presence at all. I mean, it's not my best look, and I'm not going to sleep at all.
Nope.
Now I sleep.
Now you sleep.
Now I sleep.
Although this draft you might not with all the stuff we have going on.
Well, because I'll be on the air at 4 a.m., right.
That's funny. That's like my wife understands the same kind of like I'm going to Penn's Flyers game 1 Saturday.
Yeah, you'll be pumped.
And like when I told my wife like, hey honey, me and my buddies she was like, yeah, I figured.
Okay.
She was like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, Penn's playoff game, you're going. Big WVU game, you're going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I don't have to guess. I get it. I've already told my wife. I think WVU basketball could be pretty good next year.
Uh-oh.
Final Four's in Detroit next year. That's about a 3-hour and 50-minute drive.
Wow, that's ambitious.
I already told her, I was like, if we're in the Final Four, I'm in Detroit that weekend, sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm
sure of that.
That's a little ambitious.
That seems ambitious.
That's a little ambitious, but we have been there.
Aim big.
We have been there before. Aiming big here with our mock drafts on this Wednesday as we roll along, Matt.
Which one are we starting with?
Let's start with Mel Kiper's here.
He's earned it,
and his is just a 2-round mock, whereas Dane's a 7-round mock.
Could you imagine doing a 7-round mock for 32 teams?
No.
I think it's insanity.
It took you and I an hour and 20 minutes to do one for the Steelers.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's insanity.
That's a lot.
So I've been calling Mel out on a couple, in a good way, and on a couple of forums, and just wanted people to realize, I mean, I'm, my draft nerdiness. Somewhere in my attic, he used to put out a blue book, which was like the Bible. I mean, I have every one from probably 1980 until he stopped putting them out. I mean, there's probably 30 of them in my attic somewhere, and I would wear that thing out. That's awesome. I knew every word in it.
I didn't have the Mel Kiper blue books, but I think I've told you this before. My thing was every July, my family, we would drive to Hilton Head, which is, a nice hike for 10, 12 hours from Pittsburgh, depending on traffic and all that.
You probably didn't download movies. And
this is, this is like the turn of the 21st century.
Right.
I would make my dad, like before we'd even get on the road, he would pull off at like a gas station or like the Barnes & Noble in Cranberry.
Yeah.
And I would go in and I would buy the Phil Steele and the Lindy Sports and the Street and Smith's college football preview magazines. And the whole way down to Hilton Head, I'd read through all those college football preview magazines. And who do they have winning the national championship? Where do they have the Mountaineers finishing? Who are they picking to win the Big East? All that stuff.
Oh, I mean,
I grew up a bunch of them.
I grew up in the South Hills, and my dad worked downtown. Once in a while, he'd just pop in with, the newsstands down there were way better.
Sure.
Here's new draft magazine.
Absolutely, yeah. That was like a special treat.
Oh, yeah. And I guess from what I recall, there was an amazing newsstand at the airport.
Sure.
And this was way before 9/11. You could go in there and go in. You could use that as a shop.
Yes.
My mom would take me out there and we'd buy 7 of them.
That's awesome. That's
draft
awesome.
stuff, right? Yeah.
It'd be like when the Steelers win the Super Bowl and everyone goes to Dick's to get their T-shirts.
Right,
that was
right,
you
right.
going to the airport.
I bet they're probably out by now.
To get your draft magazines. That's awesome. So let's roll through Mel Kiper here and what he has to say. Pick number 1, Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. Duh. About as chalk as chalk can be.
And Mel's still really dialed in. People tell him a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do. Number 2, David Bailey, edge rusher of Texas Tech.
That seems to be gaining steam.
I certainly think I would still put my chip down on Arvell Reese, but I don't think that is nearly as chalky as Fernando Mendoza.
What I find interesting is really the next pick, because I think we know the Jets are going to take an edge defender of some sort. But when Bailey's available, nobody mocks him to the Cardinals. When Reese is available, everybody
the Cardinals,
right.
And Mel Kiper did here.
And I greatly prefer Reese, but I don't think the league agrees with me. Or they wouldn't have Bailey too.
Sure,
right?
Sure. Bailey 2, Reese 3 to the Cardinals, Jeremiah Love 4 to the Titans.
Okay.
Caleb Downs 5 to the Giants.
I really think strongly that the Giants will take Styles or Downs.
Okay.
Lewis or Reed. You know what I mean? Who's in charge there? They've Roquan, Hamilton.
It's a great point.
They've had a lot of safeties and linebackers.
Learn to think as those around you think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those two.
Number 6, projected trade, Browns and Cowboys. And I'll kind of peel back the curtain on the Dane mock a little bit. We referenced this in the opener.
I think McShay's did too.
Both McShay and Dane Brugler both have the Cowboys trading up here to pick 6 to take Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State, for Dallas to take Sonny Styles.
Yeah. I mean, again, I was talking to Marcus Mosher, Locked On Cowboys, and I'm like, man, every mock that came out today has the Cowboys going up. Do you think that's real? He's like, oh, I think that's very real.
So let me play devil's advocate, or just maybe the other side of the gun here on this one. And I say this as, for those who missed it last week when Matt and I did our top 21 big boards, I had Sonny Styles too.
Oh, I get it.
So I think this guy, I like the Fred Warner comps.
Yeah.
But I think for a Dallas team that is about as all-in as you can be, them and the Rams are probably the most all-in on 2026 teams in the NFL. Man, even for a guy I love as much as Sonny Styles, I think asking him to come in and be a game changer for your defense year one is a tough ask at that position.
Yeah, I had this conversation earlier too. It's like, I adore him, but he's 20.
It might be a year or two ahead of schedule for Dallas for him to be that guy that they would need.
Now, he is coming from a Matt Patricia defense that is very advanced for the college level
pro-ready,
and has a lot of concepts and all that good stuff. But I'm not picking on Devin Bush, but I mean, he's one of many examples that, boy, these look like unbelievable linebacker prospects. Many first-round linebackers, actually most, either struggle or bust. Mm-hmm. And no one thinks any of these guys are going to bust, but some of these guys are going to bust.
Yes, and I don't think Sonny Styles is going to bust.
I don't either, but it could take longer than you think.
You kind of selling your draft to get a guy who I think is going to be great, but it might take him a season to get there, and then is it too late? That's just an interesting one for me.
And we know, like, being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is like being the center fielder of the Yankees or the goalie of the Canadians or the
it's a scrutinized position.
Yeah, but being the green dot leader of the defense of the Dallas Cowboys is going to be pretty scrutинized.
There's
you got traded
a lot
up
of people
for
talking about
right,
you.
right,
yeah,
right.
Especially if they trade up to 6 to get you.
And we used our Micah Parsons pick on this, right?
And it doesn't matter if he's great in 2028. They'll be crushing them all 2026.
Yeah.
Number 7, the Commanders, back-to-back Ohio State picks here as they go Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of the Ohio State.
Their receiver room's a mess. I mean, they've been linked to Ayuk a bunch, but their receiver room's a mess.
Number 8, New Orleans Saints, Reuben Bain Jr., the edge, of course, from the U.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs select Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State.
Boy, he's getting a lot of helium lately, too.
Hines Ward was pumping his tires yesterday, baby.
Was he
I don't
really?
know if you saw that. Hines is coming with him to the draft.
Okay. That's cool.
Because the draft's in Pittsburgh, and Hines Ward played for the...
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Now
makes
I get
sense.
it.
Yeah.
I just get the impression that the league isn't as worried about the medicals as
I'm starting to get
the
that
history.
too.
Yeah. That's just the vibe you get,
It's a risk to take, but man, if he hits, I think he could hit big. 10, the Cincinnati Bengals, Mansour Delane, corner out of LSU. That's starting to become a popular landing spot for him.
Yeah, tonight I'm going to write my final cornerback rankings for the triple take for Steelers. The more I watch McCoy and Delane, they're awesome. I think the two of them are better than I thought.
I really like both of them.
I didn't dedicate a ton of time to them. Like, neither one's going to be a Steeler. They're both good. They're going to be gone by the Steelers pick. Like, they're going to be higher in my final 21. You had them higher than me, and I think I'm with you. They're just really, really good football players.
I had Delane 8, and I had McCoy like 12 or 13, I think.
Yeah.
They might even climb a little bit from there.
I think they're a lot. Like, everyone talks about these blue chip dudes, like all the Ohio State guys, Love. I think they're closer to those guys than they are like the dudes that are going like 14, 15, than the Lemons of the world or whatever, just in terms of like what kind of grade I would have on them.
I had Delane 9 and McCoy 14 as I look at that my notes from the last time we did that exercise.
For a team that doesn't really need an outside corner.
But I think those
two, but they're just really good with it.
Plug them in for the next decade, and they'll be really good. 11, the Dolphins. Francis Maui Noah stays in Miami. From Miami
I would
to
think they'd be
Miami, I would absolutely. They might get the best offensive lineman in the draft at pick 11. 12, the
That's
Browns.
why I think that third pick's so important.
Yes.
Because that could be Maui Noah, or that could be Style, or
Arvo Reese or David Bailey.
That's a lot different
I think
tidal wave.
You want the edge
rusher
run to start as early as possible.
Yeah.
12, the Browns, the swap with Dallas. They take Caden Proctor out of Alabama.
And
13, the Rams, Mekhi Lemon. That's starting to become a popular.
That's getting real chalky.
Real popular. And, man, I think McVay would find some very creative ways to use him as he would stay in Southern California. 14, the Baltimore Ravens select Spencer Fanu, lineman out of Utah.
I keep hearing Fanu, Sadiq, or Venga.
Wouldn't surprise me,
yeah.
and I think they'll probably all be available in that range.
I would think. I think we want it to be Sadiq.
Yes, but this works out. Sadiq goes 15th to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I'd buy that one, but okay.
16, the Jets. This is the Sauce Gardner pick. Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of national champion Indiana, goes 16 to the Jets.
A couple weeks ago, I would have guaranteed he was going to be there at 21. I don't know anymore.
I'm leaning towards no. 17, the Detroit Lions. This is becoming a popular projection too. Monroe Freeling goes from a dog to a lion.
Then you don't have to move Sewell. I mean, that's great.
Pick 18 and 19, back-to-back safeties off the board here. Dylan Thieneman goes to the Vikings. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren goes to the Carolina Panthers.
I like both players. I think the Steelers like both players, but I'd love both those guys to be gone by 21.
Yeah.
I mean,
because that means a wide receiver or an offensive lineman is getting pushed down.
I mean, they could tease you to the point where maybe you'd grab one, but I think you want those guys to fall.
20, the Cleveland Browns.
That's the Cowboy trade.
Trade. So basically that trade was the Cowboys traded their 2 first-round picks for the Browns' 6th pick and a Browns 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, and I think they sprinkled in like a 4th next year or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Browns select Denzel Boston. So they get Caden Proctor and Denzel Boston. The Browns.
Boston seems to be gaining helium too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
he's
I
another
see him
one.
in a lot of
as much as I do like him, I don't know how he's a current fit. We've had that conversation a few times. So he's another one who I might not mind if he goes in the top 20.
20 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't break my heart.
So this would leave a very interesting situation at pick 21 because there's still a lot of guys left on the board. Jermod McCoy's still on the board. A couple of those offensive linemen are still on the board. Casey Concepcion, Maxie and Chor. But as I would probably make this decision, at least as we sit here now. Mel Kiper has the Steelers selecting from up the road in State College, Venga Ioane, guard from Penn State at pick 21.
I think we'd all take that in a heartbeat right now. I mean, I would even consider moving up a few spots.
He thinks that this is a little too early for the Steelers to consider Ty Simpson, and that he'd be an easy swap for Isaac Seumalo amongst that Steelers offensive line.
Yes.
22, the LA Chargers take Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. 23, Eagles take Blake Miller, the offensive tackle from Clemson. 24, I hate this, Matt. This is so the Browns have 3 first-round picks in this scenario. They get Proctor, they get Boston, they get Jermod McCoy, the corner from Tennessee.
You'd have to jump on McCoy.
I would. Right. Oh, that'd be a heck of a haul for the Browns. Now, they'd probably still find a way to screw it up, but that'd be a heck of a haul.
I mean, they may have taken Proctor at 6.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're that in love with him or,
Jermod McCoy could
McCoy's
kind of
like just 24. Like the bonus prize for them, right?
25, the Bears select Zion Young, edge rusher, defensive end from Mizzou. 26, the Bills select Kedrick Falk out of Auburn. 27, Matt's biggest crush, Mad Max, goes to the San Francisco 49ers.
Again, I host that podcast with the Locked On Niners host, and we often look at things the same way because they want a guard to eventually take over for Trent Williams. And,
not bad.
We've had these conversations, as you can tell, in the black and gold.
Not bad. 28, the Houston Texans select Christian Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia. The Chiefs, with their second pick of the first round, take Colton Hood, the other corner out of Tennessee. Trent McDuffie replacement there.
Real quick, I don't want to brush over Miller. That's the earliest I've seen Miller go. I mean, as a first-round pick. I mean, I really, really like him. And when I was a little late to the party on him, I thought, man, I'd love to get this guy at 53. There's no chance. I mean, he's got a chance to be the first defensive tackle taken.
30 here, the Dolphins on the clock. Mel projects a trade with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals get back in the end of the first round to nab Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama.
Yeah, and especially with Simpson, I think you really want that fifth-year option, just because he's probably going to sit at least half of this year, even if it's Brissett ahead of him.
31, the Super Bowl runner-up New England Patriots select Akeem Messidor, edge rusher out of the U. A little bit older, but certainly ready to go and polished.
Yeah.
And then 32, man, we've seen this a couple times recently. The Seattle Seahawks select Jadarian Price, the other running back. So 2 Notre Dame running backs in the first round.
That might have been the most shocking player to end up in round 1 in that mock, because I think maybe you'd even get him at the end of round 2.
I think at the end of round 2, there would be a lot of running backs that Seattle would be intrigued by. There might only be one other one off the board.
And maybe the NFL disagrees with me, or Mel disagrees, but I don't think he's noticeably heads above running back 3.
And especially when you're the Seahawks and you only have 4 total picks in this draft. Right. If you're going to use one of them on a running back in the first round.
One of the corners or something, and then just whatever running back's there at the end of the second round is fine with me.
Absolutely.
Or frankly, I was on a Dynasty show today. If the Titans draft Love, I'm just calling what do you need for Pollard? I mean, you can always get a guy. Right.
Yes.
You can get one.
So that's the first round that Mel has playing out here. Let's take a break. We'll close down with Mel's second round. Where do the Steelers go? Where do some of these other big names left on the board go? We'll discuss to close down hour number 2 when we return. Uhler, Williamson, it's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Mocking it up here with Mel Kiper into round 2. And I think this is going to demonstrate why Matt and I love the idea of moving up a little bit from pick 53 so much.
Yeah, like I said, there was 3 big mocks that hit today of people I trust and like. So I don't know which is which, and I really didn't study any of them intently. But I do remember thinking 53 is not nearly as good as 43.
Yes.
You know what I mean? 53 is starting to scare me. It's a little bit of no man's land.
And I think the way that this plays out might lend credence to that thought process. 33 to start the second round. The Jets take C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia.
I guess his workout was really good today. I didn't even know he was hurt. I didn't know there was anything going on with that. Right.
Nice for him to spend a year with Demario Davis as well.
Good call.
Miami Dolphins. This is the trade with Arizona that the Cardinals moved up to get Ty Simpson. Dolphins select Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver out of Alabama. They need some pass catchers.
He's someone I think the Steelers would definitely target at 53. But if they're talking about him going 33. Different world, man.
Different world.
Yeah.
35, a name that I think is a very intriguing wild card for where he could ultimately land. Malachi Lawrence, edge rusher out of UCF. He is rising big time.
Yeah. My first ever mock draft for Steelers.com, I put him in there on purpose to the Patriots. And when Max and Mike and I did it, I'm like, I only put him in here because I'm going to be the first one to put him in the first round because I think he's going in the first round.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
36, the Raiders, Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State.
That's where he should go. Pure run stuffer, really good at it, but yeah.
And then here you go. 37, the Giants take Keelan Rutledge, the guard from Georgia Tech. 38, the Texans take Chase Bistontis, the guard from A&M.
Now, fortunately, the Steelers have a guard in this scenario, so you're thrilled about that.
Sure.
But that's the neighborhood these guys are going to go, folks. I know a lot of you are married to the idea of you got to take that receiver in round 1, difference maker, and then you'll get your guard. I just don't know you're going to get your guard. The falling in love with Tyson or Lemon or Concepcion or whoever it is you love in round 1 is great. But the second shoe of that conversation's not as clean as you think. And also the receivers aren't that clean at 53 even.
We're going to see some of that here too. Yeah. 39, the Cowboys, after the trade with Cleveland, they take T.J. Parker, the defensive end out of Clemson.
Okay.
40, the Kansas City Chiefs take future President of the United States, R. Mason Thomas, the edge rusher out of Oklahoma. 41, Bengals, Cassius Howell, edge outside linebacker from Texas A&M. As they would go, that'd be back-to-back years with them, a high pedigree pick on an A&M edge after Shamir Stewart last year. 42, the New Orleans Saints select Casey Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M.
A good landing spot.
That's a really good landing spot.
Yeah.
Dolphins on the clock at 43. Chris Johnson, the corner out of San Diego State.
I think he's going to end up in the first round, too.
I think he is at least going to be higher than 43.
Yeah. I think Seattle should have taken him in this mock at 32.
44, the Jets select Brandon Cisse, corner out of South Carolina.
Okay, another traitsy corner. Those guys go fast.
Ravens back on the clock. And they take Eli Stowers, the tight end out of Vanderbilt there.
Seems like a Ravens pick.
That seems like very much so a Ravens pick. The Bucs at 46 take Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker from Texas Tech.
Okay.
47, Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker from Texas. 48, Atlanta Falcons, their first pick of the draft. They take Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. 49, the Vikings, Mike Washington Jr., running back from Arkansas.
Wow, that's
about
Mel
the
has
highest.
3 of them going in the top 50.
49.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
I don't either.
I don't think he is just shooting in the dark with that one either.
No, he's not just pulling this out of his butt.
Derek Moore, edge outside guy from Michigan, goes to the Lions at 50. Caleb Lomu, finally, off the board, 51 to the Carolina Panthers. I think he could fall into the second round, but
Me too.
not to 51.
I mean, again, these guys are way more dialed in with agents and people in the league, but that seems really late for me for a pure left tackle type,
52, Avion Terrell, younger brother of A.J. Terrell, the corner out of Clemson, goes to the Packers.
So I heard an interesting nugget on him today, too. He ran really poorly.
Very poorly
like
at his pro day.
4.65.
Yeah.
And those corners, if you run a 4.65, you're not going the first round. But I guess his GPS stuff is pretty good. More like a 4.4 type guy. We're kind of weird world, Wild West of this GPS first, and arm lengths are different all the time.
Yeah,
And
right.
I mean, what's going on around here?
I'm not sure. But yeah, he did not run very well at his pro day. 53, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, if you see, a lot of the wide receivers have come off the board, a lot of the guards have come off the board, but there are still, Pregnon is still there.
He would have been there if you would have taken a receiver in round one.
As are, Chris Brazzell still there, but Mel Kiper has the Steelers going Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver out of Georgia.
I would not like that at all. As your first receiver, guy that needs to be your number 3 on day one, probably too small.
5'9",
too
177.
Phenomenal with the ball in his hands. He'd be a great punt returner for you. I did a mock where, and again, I mean, these mocks aren't gold by any means. I took Hurst here, and then I got Branch as a first pick in the third. I don't want to count on him to be on the field a lot at that
Or if
size.
you draft Concepcion or Cooper in the first round, and then you take Branch in the third round.
Oh, yeah. I think he's more of a third rounder. And I'll be honest, I'm very prejudiced against these very short slot-only guys. The league is very much getting away from them.
You've been clear on that even before you and I got to this specific draft process.
Yeah. They want Pittman to be the slot, not Welker,
54, the Eagles select Oscar Delp, tight end out of Georgia.
Boy, a
That's
lot
the
of people
highest
have him
I think
going
I've seen
out.
him going, but he's a riser.
Yeah, great pro day.
The Chargers take Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard from Oregon, at 55.
He would fit. Yeah.
The Jags at 56, Jashawn Barham, the edge outside linebacker from Michigan.
I love the way he plays. He's kind of an off-the-ball linebacker / edge. Not Arvell Reese, but I mean that type of tweener guy, Timmons was that guy. Chad Brown,
First pick for the Jags, as they do not have a first-rounder that they traded in the Travis Hunter trade last year. 57, the Chicago Bears, Dub Bears, take Tre'Dan Stukes, safety out of Arizona.
I'm a fan of his, too.
Yeah, 58, the Niners take Gabe Akis, the defensive end out of Illinois.
I know you can't ignore a receiver for the Steelers at 53, but I would much rather have taken Stukes than
Pregnon, I would think, too.
Yeah.
59, D'Angelo Pons goes to the Texans.
I don't know what to think about where he's going to go.
Yeah.
I bet somebody's going to love him.
Someone's going to fall in love with him.
Right. But his problem is there's no Welkers for him to cover. He's got to cover the Pittmans and the tight ends, right?
60, the Bears. This is the DJ Moore trade pick. They take Logan Jones, the center out of Iowa.
They have a center need.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, their center
That's
retired.
First center we've seen off the board there. Pick
Really
60.
good athlete. He, I was watching a little bit of him versus Big Citrus, Iowa State. He really struggled with that power and size. I mean, he's a movement-only type center guy,
61, the Rams take Josiah Trotter, linebacker from Mizzou. 62, one of the other draft wild cards, Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle from Florida, goes to the Broncos. Man, he'd fit in nicely on that defense and would have some time to come along and develop.
Him slow, yeah. Anytime in that neighborhood, I think that's worth the risk, man.
63, the Patriots take Chris Brazzell II, wide receiver from Tennessee.
A lot of heat that A.J. Brown's going to end up there.
And 64, the Seattle Seahawks.
We didn't mention the Eagles made a receiver trade yesterday.
They did.
Wicks is end up there. And
all
the
signs
tea leaves are showing that Brown's on his way out.
June 1st trade.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Seattle Seahawks at 64 take Malik Muhammad, the corner out of Texas.
Okay.
So that's Mel Kiper's 2-round mock draft here. Steelers come away with Vengo Ioane at 21, which I think Matt and I love and would sign up for.
Yes.
And at 53, Zachariah Branch, who Matt and I would go fish and let the chips fall elsewhere.
I think I would have to go fish on those if the package. But boy, it'd break my heart to be like, boy, I hope Venga falls to you again.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But at least my man Max was available too.
He was.
There were some. If he didn't get him, you'd have got somebody at least in the neighborhood. But the branch pick bothers me,
especially considering some of the guys that were still there.
Yeah. I'm not sure who the better receivers were at the time.
Yeah,
Brazel, Hurst. Well, those guys are really raw too, though.
That's an hour in the
Surratt
books.
would have been there.
Yeah, Surratt's still there. And that's an hour in the books, another hour to go. More mock draft conversation. We'll get to your questions, comments, concerns, reactions from the X Twitter and the YouTube in hour number 2 as well. Halfway home on the drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good afternoon, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 of the drive here on this Wednesday as we continue to shimmy and shake and get ready for the 2026 NFL Draft 8 days from now here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're going to get to some of your tweets and in YouTube comments as we roll along here in hour number 2. But first, we're going to take a look at our guy, Dane Brugler. He put together a 257-pick, 7-round mock draft. Now, we are not going to read through every one of these.
With the 215th pick, the Dallas Cowboys say, no, I don't know.
But we're going to go through the first round, a couple notable trades too, some notables in the second round.
A little faster than we did with Mel.
Yes, and then we'll kind of just, here's all the players that he had the Steelers taking.
Yeah. This is the haul.
Yes, exactly right. Mendoza to start. He has Arvell Reese going to the Jets, and then Maui Noah going to the Cardinals.
And that implies that that's not a done deal, the Bailey-Reese thing,
Right. He has David Bailey, though, going 4 to the Tennessee Titans.
I think they would jump on Bailey.
I think Saleh would love that.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs going 5 to the Giants. That's starting to become a popular prediction. He also, I mentioned this earlier, but just a reminder for those of you who missed it, same as Mel Kiper. The Cowboys trade up with the Browns to pick 6 for Dallas to nab Sonny Styles, the linebacker out of Ohio State.
And I get the impression Styles wouldn't be their only target. Just there could be Downs. It could be, whatever.
Yeah. 7, the Commanders take Jeremiah Love, talented running back from Notre Dame, and a nice backfield running mate there for Jaden Daniels. Number 8, the Saints take Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State. Number 9, Chiefs, Reuben Bain Jr. from Miami. 10, continuing to be popular, Mansour Delane, the corner from LSU.
Sure.
11, the Dolphins take Keldrick Falk, the edge rusher from Auburn.
Some beef. I don't love him, but
I don't love him either, but he's got traits.
Yeah. That's one guy I noticed from Mel to Dane.
Big difference.
Big difference, like 20 picks difference almost, yeah.
12, the Browns, they go offensive line here, like Mel said, but they take Spencer Fanu instead of, I think it was Proctor and Mel's. 13, the Rams take Jordan Tyson in this one. Not Mekhi Lemon, but Jordan Tyson.
I really think they're going to take a receiver.
I think so, too.
That's pretty much a done deal. Yeah.
All in on 26.
Yeah.
14, the Ravens take Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon.
That would make me happy.
It would and wouldn't me too, because it would push somebody that we like, I think, to the Steelers. But that might be
your goal. That's a landmine spot.
Yes, but that might be the Ravens getting a top 5 player in this draft. At
right.
14.
I don't want to play against them, but yeah.
15, the Bucks take Venga Ioane, guard from Penn State.
That's another sneaky landmine too, because they use high picks on O linemen.
They sure do.
Yeah,
and even interior guys. They used a first-round pick on
Barton and
Graham Barton. 2 years ago. 16, the Jets take Mekhi Lemon with their Sauce Gardner pick here from Indianapolis.
I would think that's his floor.
17, the Lions once again take Monroe Freeling, the tackle out of Georgia. 18, the Vikings select Jermod McCoy, the corner out of Tennessee. 19, the Panthers take Dylan Fenneman, the safety out of Oregon.
Nice.
And 20, it's funny how often Mel and Dane have these teams taking the same position, just a different guy.
Yeah. For a lot of these teams.
Mel had the Browns taking Boston. Dane has them taking KC Concepcion pick 20.
So they both end up with tackle receiver in that order,
just different ones.
But different ones.
And that means the Steelers on the clock at pick 21 take Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of Indiana. And there's your national champion for Omar Khan to keep the streak going.
So Venga was available. Okay.
He went 15 to Tampa Bay, remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah. On this edition
Max
of this
was.
But Venga and KC both go in the top 20 in this one, whereas they were both on the board at 21 for the Steelers in Mel's mock.
I bet the Steelers like Kiper quite a bit. I mean, everyone knows I'm into O-line, but I think Cooper's a good player and would fit very well here.
So we'll see how the first 2 rounds in particular play out. Remember, in the first hour, the first hour of the show, Mel Kiper's mock, he had Venga at 21 and Zachariah Branch at 53. Right now, we got Omar Cooper at 21. Let's see how this plays out for Pittsburgh. Right. 22, Akeem Messidor.
You'd have to have an eye on the guards.
Absolutely.
I would think,
absolutely.
Right? Or a trade up, or
22, the Chargers take Akeem Messidor. 23, the Eagles take Caden Proctor. 24, the Browns back on the clock. They take Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo. He stays in Ohio.
3 first-rounders for the Browns in these scenarios, yeah.
The Bears at 25 take T.J. Parker, the edge rusher out of Clemson. The Buffalo Bills take Malachi Lawrence, the edge rusher out of UCF, who we were just discussing.
I think that's his neighborhood.
I think that's a real possibility.
I do too.
27, Caleb Lomu goes to the 49ers there at pick 27.
I think that's more like his landing spot area.
As opposed to, 41 or whatever it was.
It was pretty late into the second round, or mid-second round.
The Texans at 28 take Chase Bisontis, the guard out of A&M. Guard
like
run starting earlier here.
Right.
The Chiefs at 29 take Denzel Boston, big body wide receiver from Washington. The Dolphins trade to pick 30 to Denver here. Miami trades with Denver to take Chris Johnson, the corner out of San Diego State.
Okay.
Patriots take Blake Miller, the tackle out of Clemson. And I
think he's going to go higher than that, too.
And the Seahawks take Colton Hood, the other corner from Tennessee.
That makes more sense to me than Price.
So into the second round here. Jets
There's only 2 of those guards left.
I was just saying.
Well, my man Max is still out there, I think.
He is, but not for long.
I'm sure. Right, yeah.
Avion Terrell kicks off the second round of the Jets at pick 33. Ty Simpson to the Cardinals at pick 34.
Okay. I think you'd rather almost move. For the Cardinals, you might rather. So, real quick, would you rather get him at 34? The obvious answer is yes, as opposed to trading up to the first round. Or is a 4th or 3rd round pick worth having the 5th-year option? You know what I mean? You only have to move up a couple spots.
That's a great point.
Right. Is it what's worth more, a 5th-year option or a 3rd or a 4th or whatever it costs?
Probably the 5th-year option for quarterback.
For a quarterback.
Now, if this is a guard or a center, it's a different conversation.
Especially him, because I think year 1 might be a wash.
Great call by you.
Yeah.
Great call by you. 35, the Titans take Mad Max out of Arizona State. 36, the Raiders, same as Mel had. It's Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. 37, same as Mel had. It's Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Cassius Howe, the edge rusher from A&M, goes to the Texans at 38. The Cowboys take Tre'Dan Stukes at 39. The Chiefs take Brandon Cisse at pick 40. The Bengals, Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson at 41. The Saints take Zion Young, the edge rusher out of Missouri at 42. Dolphins take Chris Bell, wide receiver from Louisville at 43.
See, I love that for them. Like the Jets or the Dolphins. He can
redshirt him for a year if you
have
need to.
Right, yeah.
The Jets at 44 take Caleb Banks, big boy from Florida.
That's worth the risk for them, too. They have so many picks over the next 2 years. If you hit on that guy,
Big time. Ravens at 45 take R. Mason Thomas, edge rusher out of Oklahoma, and our future president. 46, the Bucks take Gabe Akis, edge rusher out of Illinois. 47, the Colts, their first pick, they take Jake Galladay, the linebacker from Cincinnati. 48, the Falcons, their first pick, they take Christian Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia, who we talked a little bit about in the first hour.
Keep him in state, yeah.
Pick 49, the Vikings take Lee Hunter, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. Pick 50, the Lions take D'Angelo Pons, undersized but nasty corner out of Indiana. At pick 51, the Panthers take Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vandy. And at pick 52, the Packers take Danny Dennis Sutton, edge rusher out of Penn State. So that
2 of the guards are still there, then,
Rutledge
right?
still there. Pregnon still there. Jennings Dunker still there. Jeremy Bernard still there. A lot of options. Zachariah Branch, Elijah Surratt, Ted Hurst, all still there, Matt.
Now, you took a receiver, obviously.
And we took, remember, in this mock, pick 21 was Omar Cooper Jr. Pick 53 is Kalen Rutledge, the guard out of Georgia Tech.
I think that's a nice situation.
I think we would sign up for the Dane mock, Omar Cooper Jr. and Kalen Rutledge, more so than the Mel mock of Venga Ioane
Because the Branch pick, to me, is...
I like the first-round pick for Mel more, but
Way
I like
more, right.
the overall snapshot of both way more for Dane.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're playing a risky game hoping those guards get there. But in this case, there was 2 to pick from, which is fine. And I, too, would have taken Rutledge over Pregnon for the Steelers. Our first segment, I laid that out. Pregnon would have been my last guy that I kind of look at as an obvious starter, foundation-type guy.
Let's run through the rest of the second round here, and then we will get into all 12 picks for the Steelers that he made.
Yeah.
Malachi Fields goes 54 to the Eagles. Pregnon, 55 to the Chargers. Dunker, 56 to the Jags. So a real run on those guards there. Big Citrus goes 57 to the Bears. Jeremy Bernard, 58 to the Niners. Jadarian Price becomes the second running back off the board at 59 to the Texans.
Let me stop you. I would have preferred, and this is Monday morning quarterbacking, I like the Cooper Rutledge combination, as we just said. But I would have loved the Conachor Bernard combination better. And they both were available at each pick.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Max at 21, Bernard at 53. I would
So
sign
you'd
up for
rather
that
have
right
Max at 21 than Venga?
No, but he was already gone.
Oh, in this one, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Of guys
Sorry.
available
Yes.
for both.
Sorry.
The scenarios that you could have had.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I like Jeremy Bernard more than Zachariah Branch, definitely.
For sure.
For sure.
But, I mean, of course, I like Cooper more than Bernard. But I would rather go Bernard Max than Cooper
Yes.
Rutledge.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I like both of those scenarios.
I like both.
But
right.
I'm
I
with
do.
you.
Both would help you a lot and help the next quarterback a lot.
60, the Bears with the DJ Moore pick take Jalen Kilgore, the safety from South Carolina. Rams at 61, Anthony Hill Jr. Broncos at 62, C.J. Allen, so a little back-to-back off-ball linebackers there. DeJon Streebling, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, goes to the Patriots
hearing more
at
and more about
63.
him. I mean, he's big and explosive.
And Kieron Crawford, edge rusher from Auburn, 64 to the Seahawks.
He gets after the passer. He's better than people think, too.
He sure does.
Okay.
So let's see here. I'm going to give me just a second to get to the bottom of this list where he has the composite of the team-by-team results.
Oh, is that all on there? I didn't
Because
even think
those are the first 2 rounds. I don't think we need to keep rolling through every
No,
single name
we're not
here.
going to go through pick after pick.
But
after
here's
pick.
what else
What do
he
you end
has
up with the haul?
for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and how do
I
Matt and I
assume
like
he has
it?
them taking all 12 picks, but
He does.
you know, you're not
yes.
if I was doing this, I was no way I'm trading in the 5th round.
Right,
Things like
right.
that. Yeah.
1, Omar Cooper Jr. 2, Keelan Rutledge, as we discussed. 3 third-round picks, 76th. Kyle Lewis at a Pitt at pick 76. It might be a
It'd
little
be useful.
It might be a little rich, but if he hits, he could hit big.
Yeah, I'd say the hit. Yeah.
Garrett Nussmeier at pick 85.
That's about when you start to consider him, but I just don't think that's the style of quarterback they're after. But let's not forget, I mean, the new head coach knows Garrett's dad very well.
Chandler Rivers, the corner out of Duke at pick 99.
Tough guy. I mean, he's kind of like a Pons type.
I
yeah.
like that one. Kind of surprised me, not in the sense of I don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah.
But
Plays
that one
hard.
just surprised me, considering some of the options that going corner in the 3rd round.
Yeah, without
hey, you've
taking
got-
a safety yet or whatever.
You've got 3 picks in
Right,
the 3rd
right.
round there. But then Matt, I really liked his next 2 picks, his 4th round picks, being 2 guys that we've discussed. Pick 4A, 121, Marlon Klein, the tight end from Michigan.
Yeah.
Pick 4B, 135, Jack Kelly, the linebacker from BYU. We talked about both of those guys last week.
Okay. So you take Lewis and Kelly.
And
Both
Lewis,
listed as linebackers, but
Lewis
real
I think, would be a
different people.
secondary guy, and Kelly
Yeah.
is an off-ball linebacker.
Okay. So just talking through that, Kelly, Rivers, and Lewis are all, you call them whatever you want, but they're different types of slots, different types of linebackers. They're all second level type dudes. Ramsey fills in gaps, Now, I'm not giving Dane a hard time. There's no way he could know 32 teams like we know the Steelers.
Sure.
But he might be counting on Ramsey being a safety,
Maybe.
like a deep safety.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
you get 2 different kind of slot types.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I liked those 4th round picks. I think both of those guys.
Plus, they all would be great on special teams.
Exactly right, and I think both of those guys could be the type that 3 years from now are a key part of your
They
team.
all can run. They're all athletes,
Yeah.
especially the 2 quote linebackers.
Yeah. 5th round, 161 overall, DeMonte Capehart, the defensive tackle out of Clemson.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about him too.
I don't think we've discussed him much, but he
No.
is one of those handful of Clemson guys that's going to get drafted this year.
Yeah, and more of a run stuffer, like almost all these D tackles are. But yeah, it'd be a good
Especially
depth
in this
piece.
range,
And,
yeah.
this is good value.
6th round, 216, Trey Moore, edge rusher out of Texas.
Don't know much about him.
Trio of 7th round picks. The first at 224, Enrique Cruz, the offensive tackle out of Kansas.
Okay, throw one more tackle in the mix, but 7th round tackles hardly ever come through for you. But
Back-to-back Jayhawks here as at pick 230. The Steelers take Emmanuel Henderson, the wide receiver from Kansas. And then finally, we'll call it the Mike Pursuta pick. 237 overall, a punter, Ryan Eckley out of Michigan State.
I've heard he's the best punter. That's all I know about him. But nice thing about that is, well, actually, I don't think Johnston makes a lot of money.
I don't think so.
Because, like, his first time around, he made a lot of money.
Yes.
You know?
But maybe that's just more so hey, you need another punter in camp.
Yeah.
You've got 12 picks, and you think Johnston is back and healthy, but what if he has another
What if he's
setback
not?
with that knee
Right,
injury
right.
or something?
I mean, it'd be tough if you're Dane in this scenario, too. Like, I got to make 12 picks
I got to make 12 picks for the
How
Steelers.
do I get these guys
Let's-
on
yeah.
the team?
Let's
right?
give him the best punter, in the draft.
I want 2 or 3 kickers to go. I want 2 or 3 punters to go and make sure that they get drafted. I can say they got drafted, so I'm going to stick them on teams that are going to have a hard time filling out the other roster spots.
I like getting Rutledge at pick 53. I like the 2 4th-round picks, but I do not think that I would trade this for the Steelers.
I would go Fish.
I'd go Fish.
Yeah. It's
I'd go
fine.
Fish. Now,
It's fine.
Nuss could hit. Kyle Lewis could hit massive. You know what I
There
mean?
are some
And then-
mid-round picks
And
in
then
there,
all of a
right.
sudden you're like, okay, never mind. Maybe I would take this. But
I think Klein has a chance to be a really good player in a year or two, too.
I would have liked to have seen another wide receiver earlier than pick 230. I get it. You use your
Yeah.
first-round pick on one, but I want to see another one earlier than pick
So this is an
230.
impossible exercise. So
It is.
I'm not giving Dane
I'm not-
a hard
yeah.
time, but I would have drafted a running back. I would have drafted a true safety. I mean, the not drafted true safety to me is an oversight.
Yeah.
You know,
And maybe wait.
or he
I
just
don't like
assumes Ramsey's a safety, which I don't think he will be. You know,
I don't love waiting until the 7th round to take a tackle either. When I think there's some interesting projects that could be available there in
Good
the
point.
3rd, 4th round
right?
range.
A guy that might not even make the team.
Yeah.
Like you really didn't get any tackle help. Or I mean,
Right.
7th round tag is probably destined for the practice squad.
So there's a little mock draft conversation. Tomorrow we will get into some more heavy hitters and all their latest. But you know what we have to do today here to close this thing down? A double tweet, a double YouTube
Double
comment,
dose.
double participation here on this Wednesday before Matt and I get up out of here. You know where to get at us if you want to get involved. It is the Drive, pardon me, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Two more segments to go on this Wednesday edition of The Drive, and you should already know by now what that means. It's time to get to some of your questions, your comments, your concerns, and your reactions from the X Twitter and, of course, from the YouTube comments. Matt, Rod is going to lead us off today.
All right.
He says, hoping we get Vega in round 1. If we do, would it become a challenge for Omar to pay all of these highly drafted offensive lineman picks that we've had recently? Also, I really appreciate your guys' almost daily Dale Lawley mentions, especially his proper take on Dave Matthews Band, R.I.P. So I'm taking it Rod as a DMB hater as well, too.
I get it.
That's a good question. If Frazier hits and Falconu hits and McCormick hits and Venga hits, I guess that'd be a good problem to have.
And I'd say it's exactly what you want, and it's also the reason why you always take extras. You know, like, I'm not sure what to take the 4th round. Take another offensive lineman. Take a guard that might. McCormick's the one that worries me. Like, I'll bet everything I have that Frazier is going to get a second contract and maybe never plays for another team again. I mean,
if he doesn't, Matt, I'm going to be whatever organization Zach Frazier goes to, I'm going there to do radio, okay? They lose one WVU guy, they lose us both.
I mean, he could be Webby or Pouncey or Dirt that just never plays. I mean, that position, I've seen it too many times,
Yep,
and I
just
know
lock him
times
down.
change.
We don't have to worry about it. And he's here for the next 10 years.
I'd also be shocked if Faltanu. I mean, he has to be in the long-term plans of a second contract at least.
Absolutely.
Go from there.
Absolutely.
Now, that's not any kind of knock on McCormick, but if you're never going to move on from your center and tackles are too hard to find, and then you do have the dilemma of somebody needs to not get paid, it's probably McCormick. You know what I mean?
But here's the other side of that, though.
But you got a little bit of time.
You got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Say you take one of these offensive linemen that hits in this class too.
Yeah.
And your kind of whole, Omar Khan capology is like, we can't pay all these guys. If McCormick leaves in free agency and gets a nice contract somewhere else, guess
Third-round
what?
pick.
You're going to get a nice comp pick you're going to turn a 4th-round pick
and get 4 great years of service
into a 3rd-round pick.
That's good business.
That's good business.
That's how
You'd
you're
obviously
supposed to do
still
this
rather
stuff.
keep the player, all things considered, if you lived in a non-salary cap world.
And at that point, too, you might have a quarterback on a first-year contract, and you do keep them all.
Sure.
One of the best advantages in this league is having a quarterback on a first-year contract.
It's such a salary cap cheat code.
Now, I mean, you're going to have to pay that guy, too, but you're going to get – if you draft one in the first round next year and he's your starter sooner than later, and you pick up the 5th-year option because he's good, that's 5 pretty cheap years of quarterback play,
That's what you ultimately
if it's
want.
Like first rounder in Howard, that's a pretty cheap quarterback room for a while.
Yes, it is.
Speaking
of Howard, one of our regulars, Michael Adesso, tweets and says, "Guys, hear me out. I want to trade or cut Will Howard." Everyone, this is Michael, not Matt and I. Okay,
Wow.
Direct all mean tweets to Michael Adesso. I want to trade or cut Will Howard, like you and say. I want a quarterback with a Lamborghini ceiling, not a Honda Civic. And with all the expectations fans have on him now, I don't think he's ever going to reach those heights. And with that being said, I'm also starting a rumor that Will Howard is a Flyers fan. He is from the Philadelphia area. I'm just throwing out. So one of these real Pittsburgh journos needs to ask him who he grew up rooting for. I think that's a little extreme, Michael, but I do agree with I don't know that Will Howard's a Honda Civic yet, but I want a Lamborghini.
Yeah, and if it was some tweeter that I'd never heard of, I might be like, oh, you don't want to do that. He's a good player, or he's a good backup, and you at least want to see what you got. But I think Michael knows better, and he's been around the block here with us. He knows how that works.
I think he might be trying to gas us up a little bit here. Alan tweets and says, "I heard the show yesterday. Wes talking about people from Alberta coming to Pittsburgh. Want to let you know there's many Canadian Steelers fans, and some like me are season ticket holders and have taken fans from Alberta to the games. # here we go with the Canadian flag emoji." I love it. Matt, we say this you can go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
United States, Mexico, Canada, Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, you name it, on and on. Iceland, Greenland.
Yes.
Anywhere else? India. And you will find somebody with a terrible towel or a Steelers logo, or Steeler Nation is worldwide.
Yeah.
I love it, Alan. Thanks for the tweet.
This was before you and I were doing the show, but I mean, my favorite story of it was during my daughter's junior year in high school. We paid for a trip for her to go to Italy, through the school. And they walk into a Steelers bar in downtown Italy.
In Rome.
Rome.
Yeah.
And the Drive was on. And someone points out. And
this is my dad.
Someone points out, it's like, this is her son. Yeah, yeah.
That's hysterical.
They may or may not snuck her a little bit of limoncello, but,
win in Rome. Isn't that what they say? Win in Rome. That's the phrase, right? I thought that's what you were supposed to do, like the Romans do.
Yeah.
Mr. Steel City tweets and says, if you had to pick a player projected to be a first-round pick to fall out of the first round, who would it be, and vice versa? I'll go Jordan.
Tease for tomorrow. Let's
tease
not
for
do
tomorrow?
that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
He says, I'll go. Yeah, we're going to get
Nate's
into that.
got an idea, and I've also done some of this already.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mr. Steel City says his pick is Jordan Tyson to fall out, Jacob Rodriguez to sneak in.
Jacob Rodriguez is one I've mentioned a couple times, that maybe he's linebacker 2, and plenty of teams at the end of the first round could use it, and he's safe. So to tease for tomorrow, what I did on another show, and it's an idea that Nate just brought up too before we started, was, he asked, like, who's this year's Shador? Well, I don't know if that's a hard thing to predict.
That's a pretty drastic one, but I get
it's
a good premise of question, yeah.
And so I mentioned what we did on a different show was we kind of made it like an eliminator pool. Yeah, and we'll do it together. It's not like you win, I lose, but like if you have first pick of who's going to go in round 1, Mendoza. Okay, I'll bet every cent I have on it.
He's
going to be a
everything I have
pick.
that Fernando Mendoza's
drafted. All right, who's our next
round.
pick? Reese. Okay, he's gonna. I feel pretty good about that. But when you get to about 16, 17, 18, and it's like I have to bet every dollar I own that these dudes are in there, it gets kind of hairy.
It's a little hairy.
It's like I can definitely write the story where he goes 33rd and not 32nd.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Josiah tweets and says, Loved hearing Matt talk about foosball yesterday. His eyes lit up like Christmas morning. I think he likes foosball even more than Maxie and HR.
Yeah, because I just don't get enough of it.
Ian tweeted and said that he would dust me at Halo 2 as well. All right, Ian, drop the location. All right, I'll slide through. Just drop the location. I'm ready. You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready. Terry tweets and says, love what you guys do. I have an offensive line question for you. If say the first pick for the Steelers is someone like Fanu or Mad Max that has tackle potential, but starts out and stays at guard forever, would you want a second offensive lineman in the draft, and would you be looking at a tackle type? Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Good question, but yes.
I probably would not want an interior guy, but you could make room for him, and it also would be McCormick leaving insurance, if you hit on a 5th-round pick or whatever. But I would Bell, somebody like that. I mean, some of these 6'8" type of dudes. Yeah, right, Burke. I mean, those type of dudes are still of interest to me, even though – and that guy wouldn't block Max. I mean, if it's like, boy, this dude's a superstar moving left tackle, well, then Bell's your swing guy or, and Jones is probably elsewhere in that scenario or whatever. The other thing about Jones – you mentioned it with McCormick, is I am definitely still leaving the light on for him. No question.
Motel 6.
But if he leaves, he's going to sign a big contract and give you a comp pick, too. He's a tackle.
Dan Moore Jr.
I mean, he's probably going to get a better – I mean, chances are he's going to get a better contract
than Moore. If he has a healthy
Moore.
Year this year
where
he plays 15,
horrible.
say he plays even 15 games out of 17.
Right. I mean, even if he leaves if Cook beats him out and he leaves – he'll probably get you a 5th-round pick in response because he's a tackle.
Someone will give him a 2-year bridge deal and see if he can prove it.
Yeah. He'll fight for a job in the next spot because they loved him coming out of Georgia. He has you're gonna get something out of him no matter what.
Either on the field or in the
both
realm of draft capital. Yeah. RJ asks, which is more likely, moving up in round 2 and losing prime day 2 capital, or could you see the Steelers packaging something like their 121st and 135th picks to try and push for another close to top 100 prospect? I like the idea of dumping late picks to push for another close to top 100 pick. I don't hate that thought process, but if I could only do one, if I could only trade up at the start of day 2 or the start of day 3, I'm definitely trying to trade up from 53.
I agree with you. I think there's a gap. I just think there's a big difference between 53 and 40 or 43, and it probably only costs you one of those thirds.
Now, I will say, I bet you from pick 100 to pick 135, there's going to be a big difference in a wide receiver or somebody we would like there. But I think especially so at pick 53.
So getting to get a real feel for Omar, who's made a lot of trades since he's been here, and I think he's quite good at it, and I agree with this tactic. I'm betting the trade would be something like this. 53.99 and a 6th for 45
and a 7th
and next year's 4th.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah.
He might kill 2 birds with one's trade, where
I would take
all of a sudden you have 9 picks this year and you have an extra one next year and you moved up in round 2. Like, he tends to do a real good job of and even a little thing, like they have 3 7ths, 1 6th, 1 5th. Maybe you make a deal in the second round and one of those 7th turns into a 5th. Just like a little sweetener on top late that no one thinks twice about, and it's not enough to hold up the deal. You get the deal done while you're on the clock, but there's more to it than just 53 and 90 or whatever to move up. 2 picks for 1. There's a little something on the back end that you like.
Let's see. Let's do one more here before we go to break. Christopher tweets us about some of the KC Concepcion hate that we've gotten
Somebody was really mean to him yesterday, right?
Christopher says, number 1, the perfect prospect doesn't exist, and number 2, someone like Jamar Chase is not going to be available at 21, so you have to pick your poison on the deficiencies. Also, poor Ike Taylor catching a stray from Wes in yesterday's conversation. Listen.
Did you say something about him not catching well?
Listen. I love Ike Taylor. He's one of the guys that we get to see out at training camp and things like that.
He seems super personable.
He has taken Craig Wolfley's mantle as the guy who is now smoking a cigar in front of the dorms every night. You could catch Ike out there having a stogie. Ike makes more jokes about him not being able to catch than anybody else does. So I'm just piggybacking off of what he says.
I was always told his teammates made it constantly brought up.
It's not something that he hasn't heard a gazillion times.
Yes,
absolutely. One more. Let's take our last break here, and we will continue to close with your questions, comments, concerns, reactions from YouTube and the X Twitter. Before we get up out of here on this Wednesday, Uhler, Williamson, it's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Rolling along here, final segment of the day on The Drive. And we are closing down with your different questions, comments, reactions from YouTube, from Twitter. You know where to get at us if you want to get involved. Dominic says, if you took a shot every time Wes says exactly right or absolutely, you'd be blacked out by the second hour. To which Unstoppable Dinosaur replies, and if you took one when Matt said, yeah, you'd be blind face down somewhere by the end of the show. Listen,
I didn't know yeah was a thing of mine. I know I have things. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
It's impossible to... Absolutely you did. Absolutely. Oh,
that's funny. I did not mean to do that at all. It just fell right out.
Hilarious.
Okay. I guess I do.
So you guys listen. I mean, and Matt and I are not going to argue because you know what they say. A hit dog will holler. All right. And I'm not trying to sound like a hit dog here because people are right.
Yeah.
That's the stuff.
Okay.
That's
I know
the
I do
stuff
right a lot, right?
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I do.
I think I do that.
I do absolutely, often, certainly, sweetenly.
Yeah, that could be an off-season.
I feel like I say 100% a lot too.
There was a big stretch there where I was like, 1,000%.
Wow,
and
you trying to one-up me here, man.
Yeah, and I caught myself. There was a stretch over the last 6 months where I was saying that too much. I'm like, you said that like 5 minutes ago. And the other thing is I never self-scout. Like, I listen to tons and tons of podcasts, all football, occasional Game of Thrones or something thrown in there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Look, I just stole yours.
So I
osmosis.
never listen to anything that I do. Because, like, I don't learn anything from it.
I told you I used to all the time.
Yeah,
now I don't as much. I still do occasionally. If the times that I do now is if I'm driving home and I'm like, man, I thought that segment that Matt and I had talking about this was really good. Let me listen back and see if it was as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Or if I'm like, man, we were really battling it in that hour. That was kind of boring. Go back and be like, am I just being the toughest critique on myself, or was it really a bad hour of radio?
Yeah.
We don't do a bad hour of radio, Matt, but some
relatively speaking.
Exactly right.
Right.
On a graded curve.
Right. Wow, now I wish I didn't know that.
Absolutely. It's like, do you know the TV show How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
Robin, one of the main characters, she's a
Robin Sparkles.
She's a news anchor.
Yes.
And her friends all tell her that is her thing that she says on air, too much when she's interviewing people. She realizes they made a drinking game out of it. So there's an episode where she goes on air and she's interviewing someone and she's like, and they're all at the bar and they're like, no, she knows what we're doing. And they're like, it doesn't matter. It's the drinking game. We have to do these drinks. We have to.
I remember that one. It's been a while since I saw the show, but you'll like this. Barney, you remember Barney?
Of course, yeah. Neil
Hilarious,
Patrick Harris.
a hilarious character. Often during the AB time with the Steelers, I would refer to the hot crazy scale.
Yes.
Because AB was really, really hot.
Oh, he's riding that wave like he's the Tony Hawk of surfing, baby.
Exactly. I mean, he was hot enough that you could live with the crazy.
He's the Shaun White of the hot crazy scale.
He's
riding
the top
that
right
thing,
in
baby.
Both corners, right? You know. But I used to refer to that a lot.
Dorkman asks, here's a good one. Would you rather draft an all-pro guard at 21 and then a never better than wide receiver 3 in round 2?
That's pretty good.
Or a Pro Bowl wide receiver in round 1 and a Pro Bowl guard in round 2? So I get it. He's using the all-pro distinction versus the Pro Bowl distinction.
Yeah, two Pro Bowlers.
Which I think is fair, but I'd probably still go with 2 Pro Bowlers.
Right. I mean, and that is a distinction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of dudes go to Pro Bowls.
Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler not too long ago.
But that means you're a good starting.
But yes,
I mean,
yes, you're not a slouch, but it certainly does not mean as much as All-Pro does.
I would say that's a slightly better than McCormick player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to maybe a Faneca.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a difference.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Paulie tweets and says, one of my buddies keeps saying the Steelers should move on from Rodgers and that he sucks. I told him most would disagree with the sucks part just based on 24 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. What say you, gentlemen? No, Aaron Rodgers does not suck.
I don't think he sucks.
If your buddy is saying that he's not a top 10 quarterback in the league anymore and he might not be good enough to win you a Super Bowl, that stuff I think is fair. He's past his prime, but he certainly does not.
I can understand that
He
angle.
certainly does not suck.
Right.
Watch what the Cleveland Browns trotted out at quarterback last year. That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, and
watch
there's
what the Jets trotted out at quarterback. That sucks.
There's going to be a day that Rodgers sucks. Hopefully he's retired by then. Maybe he'll be 60. But
spoiler alert, if you put Joe Montana under center right now, he would suck.
Right. And I hope it's not next year.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, you've brought this up a few times. Like, we can't guarantee that he's going to be better next year than he was last year. He's a year older, and it's not 27 to 28 years old, There wasn't a lot of options, though.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's the most difficult thing.
Just lay me out something different. If you were a Kyler guy or a Willis guy, I am a Willis guy.
Lay me out.
I understand it.
Lay me out something different realistically,
right?
Because don't tell me just suck for a year and then because the Steelers are never going to do that.
That's not going to happen.
You might do that in Madden, and that's fine. I do that a lot too.
Right. Trade Watt and Hayward. And
I love taking a team in Madden or FIFA or MLB The Show or NHL, stripping them of their parts and rebuilding them.
I bet that's fun.
It's a lot of fun in a video game. That's not how the Steelers are ever going to operate.
No.
PJ says, I think the Steelers should seriously consider picking up the 5th-year option on Broderick Jones. Worst case, he bombs and you're out a few bucks. But best case, he's here for the proverbial next decade, like we discuss. I think there's a lot of fear of losing out a few bucks, and I hope that doesn't drive the decision.
Yeah, I actually read that tweet yesterday. I think it came across like last night or dinner time or whatever. And I think there's a case for that.
The only thing is the unknown with the neck health.
That's enough for me to absolutely say no.
If he was completely healthy last year, I think it's a very fair conversation.
I still lean towards no because I don't think the level of play warrants it. But you do have money, and I can't say it's enough, and I do say it enough. Tackles don't grow on trees. They're really hard to find. You don't let those guys walk, and he has immense upside. And I like the Steelers' old O-line coach and scheme, but a new O-line coach and scheme might be good for him. You know what I mean? Like, let's at least see it. But you got this neck thing, which you and I don't know the answer to. They may not be worried at all about it.
You have 2 more weeks till that deadline.
Yeah.
And if you
I think that's why they're waiting.
If you pick up that tag, his salary is fully guaranteed, ironclad for 26 and 27.
You're right. Right.
So what? And again, we don't know. They might still be trying to find out. They might still be in wait and see. And
there's a reason they didn't pick it up a month ago.
But if you're thinking he might not even be ready to go for the start of this season, and we're going to guarantee his salary as a 14th overall pick, which is pretty decent for 26 and 27. That's a little. I understand the few bucks, PJ, and in the grand scheme of things, I do get what you're saying, but it's a little bit more than a few bucks.
Yeah, and one thing in PJ's favor, though, there are levels to this. Like if you've been to a Pro Bowl, it's higher.
His level
he's
will
the
be lower.
lowest. He's the cheapest level for where he was picked, which makes it more attractive, in terms of the money. And I don't think this is what PJ was saying. It's not like Mr. Rooney or the Rooneys don't want to write the check. It's just money. Who cares? It's not our money. That's not the point. It's the cap space. It's like I can't use that on something else. I mean, the Rooneys are going to write checks for almost the same amount of cap every year. It just doesn't matter who it goes to.
Yes.
It's still going to be money out of their pocket.
Correct.
This isn't like I'm not paying that right fielder because I don't want to.
Correct.
I mean, it's I can't use it on something else.
Kyle asks if there is a run on wide receivers after we have taken an offensive lineman in round 1. What would you give up to get to, say, the pick 33 to 43 range to draft a nice receiver you really like?
A substantial amount.
53?
For sure.
One of those third round picks?
Yeah. And if I had to go real far, I might throw a 4th.
Maybe. Or at least certainly a 5th or a 6th.
Yeah.
A lot of it depends on, because trading from 34 is a much different proposition than trading to 40 or 41.
Yeah.
But But yes, I would be.
I'm
all
not
those
giving up
things
a
would be on
first
the
or
table.
second next year.
Absolutely not.
You could convince me to give up next year's fourth, especially if I think I can maybe get that back as the draft rolls along on, early Saturday or something.
Smooth Dave tweets, in an alternate universe, I love alternate universe hypothetical type questions like this, where Tyler Loop makes that field goal and the Steelers are drafting 14th instead of 21st, what would have drastically changed in your approach to this draft? For example, an aggressive trade up for a blue chip type player. Real quick, Smooth Dave. I know the Ravens are picking at 14, but the Steelers would not have because
I was going to ask that.
the Ravens finished 8-9. The Steelers would have finished 9-8. So
let's say it's 18.
Let's say it's 17 or 18.
Yeah.
Instead, so I get what you're, but because I think picking at 14th is much different than picking at 17th or 18th. Because if I'm picking at 14, I would say I'm holding pat and I'm taking Fanu or I'm taking Venga or I'm taking maybe Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson because I will get one of those guys at 14.
Yeah.
At 17 or 18 or 19, it's maybe a different proposition.
Yeah, I don't think much would be different. I hate and love. It's fun just to be fictional, but I mean, butterfly effect stuff. Would I still have signed Dean and Brisker?
Sure.
And all these things? I think my answer is yes. I think Tomlin would still not be the coach.
Yes. I
think Harbaugh probably would be the coach.
Maybe, although remember
knows?
what Bisciotti said in his
right.
He said would he have been the coach if Tyler Loop makes that kick? The Ravens owner was asked that in his press conference, and he said for one more week. Maybe.
For one more week, yeah. Maybe they win the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Right,
maybe they go on a run to the AFC
Lamar
Championship
comes back,
game,
and who knows, right?
Yeah.
But we're not talking about them.
Where this would really change the butterfly effect, Matt, is instead of at 53, you'd be picking at 47, and it'd be much easier to move up from 47 to 41.
And I'd probably be more comfortable just hanging there.
I would definitely be more comfortable hanging.
I think that's safe.
Hanging there.
But basically, I'm still looking at Vega.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking at
Mad Max.
Yeah,
and the same
right.
wide receivers.
Yeah.
T-Mac says, Matt, every mock draft you do, you select an offensive lineman in the first round, and then the immediate response is typically that you don't like the wide receivers left in the second round. Why not just go wide receiver in the first round and grab one of Pregnon, Rutledge, Besantis, maybe even if you have to move up with a trade? I would also like a higher pedigree wide receiver for your quarterback to throw the ball to next year. Fair question.
So I assume he's referring to the mock drafts I just throw out on Twitter
I would
once
think
in a
so,
while.
probably.
The problem with those is, frankly, I know you can trade up, but I don't care that much to do it. You got to go on super slow motion, and I do it on turbo speed, and I'm not going to stop it at 42 and offer a trade because we've said this a million times. I'm very much in favor. You're very much in favor of actively pursuing a trade up from 53 into the second round to get two better players as opposed to one in a reach.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Or at least playing it by ear. Mm-hmm. Like where I'm doing, it's like blah, 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 all the picks are gone.
That's how quick it happens.
Yeah.
It does not happen that quickly on draft day. Let's see. We got time for one or two more here. Mark asks, if quarterback is the premier position in all of sports, I do think it is, Mark.
Yeah.
How can the Steelers not try and trade up to the bottom of the first round or maybe the top of the second round to take a flyer on Ty Simpson? I think he was very impressive before the injury. He's a coach's son. He refused the transfer portal and stayed at the same place. I think he's a quality kid.
I think all those things are true.
All those things are true. I will say, though, Mark, it's not as... I like guys who stay in the portal and stay loyal to their school. That doesn't mean as much to me when you're at Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia. You're at the top of the iceberg. You're getting paid big money.
Life's not so bad.
Where are you going to go up to transfer from there? You're not transferring from Pitt or WVU to Alabama.
I mean, he could have went to Texas Tech maybe and started a year earlier.
Sure. And if that's Mark's thought process, if he kind of waited his time, I get what you're saying,
and
Mark.
Still got money.
But it is a fair question.
And frankly, his loyalty to Bama might make him a great dude, but I don't know if it helps me beat the Ravens. Or complete a pass on third and 11.
I like the overall, seems like a quality kid and was raised as a coach's son. And yes.
Of course, yeah. I don't see any red flags as a person.
I agree that he was very impressive before the injury. Here's the real snafu for me, Mark. If he had 25, 30, 40, certainly 50 collegiate starts.
2 full years would make me comfortable.
Was very impressive in a bigger sample size before the trade. but he was very impressive in a 9-game sample size.
Yeah.
And that's really tough.
And then the going got tough. And
that's really tough to evaluate.
Yeah, and I know there was injuries, but I don't think the injuries, and this applies to Nussmeier too, can be overlooked because both these guys are small.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the rigors of the position when the going got tough for both of them greatly affected their bodies.
Yes.
No, it could be a fluke.
Because they're not Ben Roethlisberger
They're not Ben,
size.
Josh Allen. Right. Cam Newton.
Last one of the day. We got time for one more. We'll go to RJ. Would you guys consider an inside linebacker in the 3rd or 4th round and possibly trade Patrick Queen for more draft capital in next year's draft? I really like a lot of guys in that range, particularly the Texas linebacker. I'm only referring to guys by school and position from now on, too. I really like that Texas linebacker. What's his name? I like him so much, I don't remember his name.
I would definitely consider one in the 3rd round.
Yes.
One of those 3 picks.
Yes. And if you're going to trade Patrick Queen, I like the idea of it for being capital for next year. And this has continued to ramp up Patrick Queen to the Cowboys. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I get that part.
I don't know if I'm trading Patrick Queen for a 3rd or 4th round pick.
I don't love going into training camp with a 3rd round pick.
That too.
Holcomb and Wilson.
I just said as much as I love Sonny Styles in the first hour of the show, I don't love Dallas banking their entire defense on him at pick 6. As much as I think he's got a chance to be a perennial All-Pro.
Now, okay, let's say the kid from Texas is there in the 3rd round, and you draft him. You're happy about the draft pick. You get him to minicamp. You get him to OTAs. You get him to Latrobe. Whoa, we might have something here. I might call Jerry Jones up and be like, are you interested in giving me next year's 2nd or 3rd for Queen still?
Sure. And maybe if they have Sonny Styles, he's like, no.
Nope.
He's like, no. And he hangs up the phone on you.
But if he has Downs or another team.
Absolutely.
Or
they're not able to trade up to 6 and get a defensive stud they want.
Yeah. Or more likely, I mean, I would love to see Queen in this defense period. He's one of my favorite guys to see in a new scheme. But let's say the season doesn't go great, and Hill happens to be his name.
Anthony Hill
is really impressive, and the trade deadline's rolling around, and you're like, I probably am not going to resign him because I love Wilson, I love Hill, I want these guys to play. We're 3-4 at the moment. I can get a pick for Queen. He looked good in this system, or he didn't, or whatever. I don't think you have to do it on draft day, or have to do it at all. But
yes,
agreed.
That's a risk. That would certainly be a risk to take at a position where it's, as we've said if we've said it once, we've said it 100 times. It's really tough, particularly those first couple years. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to see what he can do in this system.
I am too. And you could make me an offer I couldn't refuse. Jerry could say, how about our 2nd rounder next year? And then I'd be that's a bad Jerry Jones impersonation. I should have just left it the first time when I said no. But yeah, it would have to really kind of knock my socks off and have some future capital that I really like.
I mean, I'll be honest. If Jerry called me right now and said, I'll give you my 2nd next year, I'd say yes.
Probably.
That's a nice pick.
That's a really nice pick.
I mean, you got a 3rd for Pickens.
I would think
from the same team.
I would think long and hard about it. I wouldn't immediately say no. I'd think about that.
Right. And I love Queen, but I would take one on day 2. I mean, this year.
I love Queen too. I think Fat Bottom Girls is a great song. I'm sorry, that was a really bad joke. Someone commented on the YouTube page yesterday that they love all the pop culture references that we make, and I got a little too carried away there. I apologize. I got too ahead of myself. I'll do the self-scout tonight, and we'll get better for tomorrow. That will do it for us for today. We will have some fun tomorrow, some more mock drafts. We'll have that jump into the first round, fall out of the first round conversation that we teased a little bit today.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to kind of like draft them, in an eliminators type style.
Absolutely, and plenty more of your participation as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. But that will do it for this Wednesday. Big thanks to Nathan, to Nate Dogg on the 1s and 2s, to Tyler V, Mr. TV on the video side of things. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.